All right, in this video, I'm going to bring you something from AmericaOutloud.com. I find this pretty interesting and very poignant from a guy named J.D. Rucker. And he says here, or her, I'm not sure if J.D. is a woman or a man, says, white supremacy and gun control, the two plays in the Democrats' shooting playbook. Right, so we did a video just a minute ago. I'm not sure if it'll be up when you see this, but it was dealing with a woman in Chicago. I'm sorry, a woman in Chicago. No, a woman in West Virginia who took out somebody who was acting like it was Chicago. There you go. He was shooting into a crowd at a party, a weapon, and she took him out with a legal concealed carry firearm and killed him. And according to the detective who was there, saved the lives of dozens of people. Okay, so that was that story. And this is something that is dealing with the narrative of the left, because they don't want to take in consideration that guns can actually save lives too. If you want to say that a gun can pick itself up and shoot somebody, they say guns kill, then a gun can also save lives. All right, especially in the hands of a person who's law-abiding, who's been trained, who knows how to use it, who has done it the legal way, who's been vetted. Because this happens a lot, where people who are law-abiding citizens are in a shopping mall, a hotel, a store, whatever it is, a park, a festival, a graduation, and someone does something stupid, and they take out their firearm and use deadly force to protect the lives of themselves and everyone around them. And that's what I want to talk about here, is that this article says, or claims, and I agree, by the way, that all they have really is white supremacy and gun control. And by the way, that gentleman in West Virginia who was allegedly shooting into that crowd was a black dude, okay? It's a black guy. And one of the reasons why I think you haven't heard much about that in the media. If you do a search in this article, all you'll find are Associated Press articles that have been syndicated across the country. The National Review had an article, but outside of that, I didn't see very many articles about it at all outside of the Associated Press, which again gets copied and syndicated around the world. And no one even, there's no originality, and it doesn't get pushed. The important thing is it doesn't get pushed by the media as a big story. No one cares because it doesn't fit their narrative. Let's get into this article here. It says, whenever there's a mass shooting, Democrats only need to hear one piece of information before beginning their politicization of the tragedy. If the shooter was white, the nation has a massive white supremacy problem that will kill us all if we don't address it. If the shooter isn't white, the nation has a massive gun problem that will kill us if we don't address it. Wow, it's interesting. I didn't realize that second part, but I did notice that the driver who killed those people with the, I think that was that Christmas, with the truck driving through the crowd, obviously a black supremacist, obviously hated white people, but they said the truck did it. And that's exactly what's going on. And said, that's it. That's their game plan. And it plays out like clockwork every single time there's a mass shooting. Do we have a white supremacy problem? Yes, white supremacy is bad, but it's a massive problem as we're being told. James Varney from Real Clear Investigations wrote an article about the current propaganda from the Anti-Defamation League, which I've posted below with permission. The biggest takeaway from the article is this: even if we ignore the questionable method they come up with 244 white supremacist murders in the last decade, it's still tiny compared to the 164,000 murders we've had in the U.S. in the same time period. Fact. I'm not even going to comment on that. I'll comment on that on locals. I don't even want to even go on record what I want to say here, because it's going to make big tech really, really mad on this one. So I'm going to leave it there. But do we have a gun problem? I addressed this in the latest episode of the J.D. Rucker Political Report on America Out Loud Talk Radio. The short answer is no, and I agree. There's no gun problem. Unless we want the whole country to be like massively gun-controlled Chicago, we should not be adding more laws to the books. Let's enforce the ones we have and focus on mental health of the nation instead of trying to take our guns. Man, what a great first couple paragraphs. I mean, that's great. So this rest of this article here is dealing with the Anti-Defamation League and talking about white supremacy. And I didn't realize there were 244 murders over the last decade. If you know, versus 164,000 in general, what is the percentage on that? Tell you what, guys, I'm gonna do a special video just on this at some point. But for now, let's just focus on the actual narrative he mentions here. He talks about here, and I'll read this again. He said, whenever there's a mass shooting, Democrats only need to hear one piece of information before beginning their politicization of the tragedy. Is the shooter white? And if he is, it's white supremacy. If he's not white or white male particularly, then it's a gun problem. That, my friends, is everything you need to know. White supremacy and gun control, the two plays in the Democrats' shooting playbook. Hey guys, that's fantastic right there. And I right there don't have much more to say on that. But I will be doing a special video on that in particular and break down the Anti-Defamation League's statements there and their conclusions. But that explains everything. And I'll close this video out here by saying this, that I mentioned here on this channel dozens of times, that the left doesn't care about the issue. All they care about is the revolution. And this is a perfect example. The issue are kids being killed in schools. The issue are black people killing black people in Chicago. That's the issue. The issue is people taking human lives, but the left doesn't care about that. All they care about is if they've used a gun. And if they did, are they white? If they're white, we have a white supremacy problem and a gun problem. And if they're, let's say, black or Hispanic, like what happened in Texas, then it is a gun problem. And that just shows you how disingenuous they are and how they only care about the agenda. And the agenda is their leftist narrative policy. That's all they care about. They don't care about the issue. All they care about is the agenda or their revolution. And so with that, guys, what do you think about this? What do you think about this article here, which I think is brilliant by J.D. Rucker? I'll do more on this. Let me know in the comments below. Would you add anything else to that? And what do you think about that 244 murders over the last decade as compared to white supremacist murders, by the way, as compared to 164,000 murders over the past decade? And my question is, how many of those are black on black? If liberals really care about black people, what's the percentage of that 164,000 murders of the past decade? How many of those were black on black? I'm just curious, considering black people are only 13% of the population. And if you want to break it down further, the black male is probably about 6% of that population. And he has 6% of the population. Tell me those numbers. I'd be curious to know once you get back to me. So that, if you like what we do on this channel, we take pop culture and politics and filter to your right, then please check out some more videos that we have for you right here.